And I would love to hear your story. What was the catalyst that, pushed you into, despite all the different roles you play, wanting some more beyond what you were already doing?
And
Wow.
then I began to reflect more and more. I thought there is more to this, definitely. And that's why your topic today resonates with me. I thought there is more to just going to work and having that triangle life, work, church, home. That was all it was for me up until
Wow.
the time. So I guess for me, that was when the noise quietened down and there was clarity. There was almost a search for clarity.
Mm.
And I remember clearly that was when I contacted you. I thought, Bunmi, what's all this about? At the time, I didn't even know what Instagram was. I didn't even know what a podcast. I remember one of my friends telling me what a podcast, like, what is a podcast? I'm talking, this was just 5 years ago.
Wow.
No, no, I'm not going to turn back. Oh.
No, no turning
It's already
back.
too late. Oh.
Welcome to the True Elegance podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bunmi Akinkugbe, also known as Dr. B. Through solo episodes and guest sessions, we delve into the timeless qualities of style, grace, and sophistication and uncover what makes you truly elegant. So, sit back, relax, and let's get started on this empowering journey of becoming truly elegant.
Hello, hello, elegant besties. I know I usually say elegant tribe, but recently the elegant besties came to my mind, and I think I'll explore that a little bit because some of you have actually become my besties on this podcast. So, how are you? I'm super excited to bring another episode of the True Elegance podcast to you today as we talk about being made for more. And on the show today is an amazing, 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 amazing guest. She's a friend, she's a sister. Please welcome with me Dr. Jaiye Olaleye.
Thank you very
Yay.
much, Dr. V. Thank you for inviting me to this podcast. I'm super excited. I'm trying to hold it in. But yeah, I'm really excited about what we're going to be talking about today, Made for More, and I'm looking forward to sharing my stories as much as I can and also hearing from you as well. Who knows, I might be able to ask you some questions.
Yay. That would be awesome. Welcome on board. And I really want to talk about your nickname, which is Jaiye Jaiye. Do you want to share with the audience how that came about and what it means?
I'm trying to even remember where that name, but I have always been called Jaiye for as long as I remember, partly because there was an advert when we were growing up, which I really don't want
Mm.
to sing right now. But
Okay.
in Nigeria, sometimes everything has to be called twice, to kind
Okay.
of give more meaning, more oomph,
Emphasis. Yeah.
more emphasis on the name.
Love
But
it.
yes, for me, my name means enjoy life, and you can turn it into living life to the fullest.
Ooh,
So I
beautiful.
I suppose when you say living life to the fullest, you can say it again, living life to the fullest. So
Oh
that's
my
where
goodness.
Jaiye comes from. And I remember as a child, my dad used to call me JJG, which
Oh,
basically means Jaiye girl. So
oh.
it's a very special name for me.
That is so beautiful. I love, love, love living life to the
The
fullest. And,
fullest.
because we're women of faith, two scriptures just come to mind. 3rd John 2, like, I wish above all things that you be in health and prosper even as your soul prospers. I think that is definitely
I feel
living.
that's where my name came from, to be honest with you, and that's why I like, if I can living life to the fullest,
Yes,
because it's almost like a biblical, but also in a way prophetic name.
right, right, right. And
So
something
I'm
to
I'm I'm
aspire
happy my
towards.
dad called me that when I was young, when I was a baby.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, that resonates with me because it's kind of like an angle of where my thrive comes from. Thriving
Definitely,
and prospering and living
yes,
life to the fullest. I love it. I love it.
definitely.
So, Jaiye is a physician. You want to tell us a little bit about your background and your specialty?
Definitely. So thank you once again, Dr. B. So I am Jaiye Olaleye. I'm a GP, a general practitioner practicing in the United Kingdom. I have been privileged to practice in 3 continents in the world. So I'm very, very, I see myself as one of the lucky people. But in my role as a general practitioner here in the UK, I have special interest in women's health. So that means I like talking to women about their health from when they are, when they are young women, from endometriosis to fibroids, to when they are in their menopause, post-menopause. But I particularly have an interest in midlife health for women. I think midlife is quite a crucial time. But apart from my clinical role, I have leadership roles in the local hospital I work, where we live, as a non-executive director, and I have educational role. I teach medical students. So I wear a few hats. It depends on where you catch me. But today I'm just very excited to, share my stories however you want to know.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Jaiye is also a mom and a
Oh gosh,
wife.
yes. I'm
That
a
role too.
mom of two beautiful daughters, aged 13 and nearly 10. I'm
Beautiful.
a wife to a very, very dear friend who is Dejo Olaleye, and we all went to medical school together with
Beautiful.
Bunmi. So
Yay.
yes, there are different facets to my life.
I love it. I love it. Welcome, Dr. Jai. So
Thank you.
today, we're just going to dive right into our discussion. And like I said in the intro, looking at how we're made for more, especially as women. I think at pivotal times in our lives, for me, it was like right around when I was about to turn 40. Like, it was like, okay, we're hitting the unique mark. Like, what's going on? What have we done? What more can I
Absolutely.
do? And now that we're getting closer to 50, I'm beginning to feel that feeling again. So I guess it comes at various seasons of our lives, but I know it's unique for each person and each woman. And I would love to hear your story. What was the catalyst that pushed you into, despite all the different roles you play, wanting some more beyond what you were already doing?
Oh wow, thank you for that question. And yes, I clearly remember when that moment sparked for me. Um, for me as a medical practitioner, I always just focused on my career, and that was all it was for me. And the way we were brought up, you face your career, you have your family, and that's it. Live happily ever after. And that was it for me until when we had to relocate temporarily to Australia with my husband's job. And to be honest with you, I did not want to go to Australia for because I felt, what am I looking for? It's just 1 year. Well, I'm happy to carry on with my job, which I
Wow.
call the rat race,
Hmm.
you know. And Australia slowed me down. It
Wow.
really absolutely slowed me down.
Hmm.
And I began to ask myself questions that what is this all about? For the
Wow.
first time, I took my daughters swimming. I thought, wow, I've missed this. And that's when you begin to realize there is more to life.
Right.
I think for the first time when I was in Australia, I interacted with a different group of friends that I'm used to. I'm used to having medical doctors as friends. Suddenly I had lawyers, I had business analysts, and I had
Hmm.
different types of women. And I thought, wow, this is such an interesting thing to do. And
Wow.
then I began to reflect more and more. I thought, there is more to this, definitely. And that's why your topic today resonates with me. I thought there is more to just going to work and having that triangle life, work, church, home. That was all it was for me up until
Wow.
the time. So I guess for me, that was when the noise quietened down and there was clarity. There was almost a search for clarity.
Hmm.
And I remember clearly that was when I contacted you. I thought, Bumi, what's all this about? At the time, I didn't even know what Instagram was. I didn't even know what a podcast. I remember one of my friends telling me what a podcast, like, what is a podcast? I'm talking, this was just 5 years ago.
Wow.
I thought, what? So there's a world out there? Like literally, there's a world out there apart from just work, church, home.
Right.
And that's when I realized actually there is more to me. There is many sides of me that I haven't explored.
Okay.
And this is the time for me to begin to maybe look at those dreams I have kept to the side. And thankfully, during that period of time, I did a postgraduate medical education course, which actually I got a distinction from.
Wow.
And I was surprised. I surprised myself. And that was when I
Beautiful.
realized I enjoyed writing. I enjoyed researching topics. I knew I always enjoyed teaching. But that period of time just made me calm down on the things I really enjoyed, begin to look at it in a bit more way. And one of the things I learned from you, Dr. B, was how can I use my skills to make an impact on the world? And how can I just think beyond my family space? Because I was just used like my husband, my children, that's it. And then I realized, well, there are people out there that God
Wow.
wants me to use my skill to bless.
Beautiful.
So I just honed down on those areas I enjoyed: teaching, writing, women's health. I remember doing an exercise then, and I decided, look, this is where I'm going to explore over the next few years and go a bit more into it. So yeah, I'm more
Okay.
than happy to talk more, but I don't want
Yes.
to. I
Yes.
can keep talking if you let me.
Wow. I love it. I love it. That's a great start. And yeah, it's already opening up
A
more
lot of things.
discussion points already. Yeah. But I want to pick on a few things you've said already. Initially, when you said you moved to Australia and it kind of slowed you down, when we hear slow down, many times we don't want to slow down. We're like, oh, okay, why am I slowing down? That means I'm not important anymore. But I know as you continue talking, slowing down doesn't necessarily mean you go into hiding and nothing is happening. Because many times, when you think about chickens that are being hatched in an egg, the time of incubation is very important, where all your organs and everything grows, so that when you do come forth, or a butterfly and all those animals that we know, and it applies to
Caterpillar, yes.
human beings as well, that time of incubation can be very important for us to really do slow down from the day to day running around and being the doctor to everybody and finding out, okay, what's in it, what's in this life for me. So I want you to talk a little bit more about that, where that incubation piece is very important.
Oh, it's so important, and I'll link it to two ideas. The first idea is a bit of a spiritual one, where the Bible talks about waiting does not diminish us. It
Beautiful.
actually enlarges us. I don't know which part of this, but I read it somewhere one time and it clicked in my spirit
So,
that waiting does not diminish us in any way. And the other aspect I would link it to is menopause. Forgive me if I
mm.
use the word menopause, but menopause basically has the word pause in it.
Mm.
And that is, that pause is for a reason, whether or not it's just to recalibrate and reinvent yourself, or or go under, which that is my role as a midlife guide and a midlife health coach. Is actually an opportunity for you to pause, rejig, restart, reinvent yourself. And for me, that was what that period was. Looking back now, I can see God probably wanted me to come out of the rat race, because if I didn't, I would have probably headed for burnout,
Wow.
complete burnout.
Hmm.
But looking back now, just taking those steps of, going out of the wicked routine, I would call it, of home, school, work, really helped me to sit down, pray in an intentional way, study, not just my Bible, but study the world. Actually, I remember one day I actually stopped to smell a rose.
Wow.
I thought, look, I have never done this before. Like
Beautiful.
literally stopped to smell a rose like that. And I
Wow.
thought, wow, this is so deep. So it helped me to reconnect with myself. It helped me reconnect with nature, just understanding nature, stopping to look at things and just noticing things in a deep way. It helped me reconnect with my daughters in a deep
Mm.
way. It helped me reconnect with my husband in a deep way. But it also helped me reconnect with God. So waiting does not in any way diminish us. It
Beautiful.
enlarges us. And that's why I want people who are listening to maybe take away from here. I don't know what period of life you might be in. It might be a period where your body is aching from physical symptoms, or your soul is aching. And yet you still feel like you need to kind of stop. And you feel like, why should I stop? I have so many things to do. But
Mm.
sometimes you stop so that you can be re-energized for more as well.
I love it. I love it. Oh, that is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, my heart is just bubbling right here. Waiting does not diminish us. Thank you,
It
Dr. Jaiye,
doesn't.
for sharing that.
Mm.
So taking it a step further, when you had that awakening call and a call to do more, what were the steps you took? What were one or two steps you remember that you took to press forward?
Oh, I remember connecting with you again. For me, Bunmi was like, has always been a role model. Dr. B has always been a
Oh.
role model, definitely. And I really didn't know what Instagram was before then. And for the first time I kind of logged into Instagram. That was when I first had my account, and it was yours that popped straight. Of course, your friends kind of come into your
Right,
Instagram feed more
right.
or less. And I thought, wow, this looks really interesting. I better touch base with Bunmi and find out what this is all about. Like, what is all of this about? And that was when I went deep into things like your value system, I remember we did a life wheel or something
Yes,
along those
yes,
lines.
yes,
And you made me go through each and every facet of my life. And I thought, wow. And I had to score myself.
yes.
Oh, wow, this is deeply reflective. I had honestly and genuinely
Wow.
never done anything like that before.
Hmm.
I'm not too sure. I think I had just crossed over 40 at the time. I probably was about
Okay.
41. But for me, that was, yeah, it just ignited my passion for more. I was like, okay, it was, it popped out like, oh, wow, what's going on here? And that
Beautiful.
was when I began to read. I think that was the first time he sent me a book. I can't remember the name of the
Yes, so
book.
many of them. I
I
think one
know.
was Believe Bigger. Was it
Believe,
that
oh,
one?
yes, I read that one. That was when I started
I think
reading
there was
books.
also Soar by
Yes,
T.D. Jakes.
so
Yeah.
yes, that was one. And there was another one, I think Purpose
Ah.
Driven
Oh,
Life, it
yes,
was.
purpose-driven life, definitely.
And
That's like
that
a
was
game
like the
changer.
first one. And I thought, look, I've been missing so much. That opportunity to that was the first step I took. I connected with Dr. Bunmi, who I was familiar with you, which is yourself. And that kind of opened, almost like widened my vision. You know how it
Mm,
is when you're driving and you're looking straight ahead,
right.
but when you want to turn, you're looking at all the mirrors and you begin to see a bit of a wider view.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that initial connection with you just helped me have a wider view. I
See.
started reading books.
Hmm.
I started maybe following a few people online, and I
Okay.
thought, oh, wow, wow. And even then, I realized that even the new friendships I made
Mm,
actually made more sense because we were having some deeper conversations,
nice.
which really helped me to grow. And that's where I feel sometimes we, especially as medics or professional women, we kind of focus so much on our professional growth
Hmm.
without really realizing that we need our personal growth to catch up as well.
Hmm.
And that's why I keep saying in midlife, very easily you can get cornered very easily because you have your career, then you suddenly have your children
Right.
who are in a particular phase of life, then you have your your parents, your older parent, your parents who you have to look after. So you just get cornered and you don't realize that your personal growth needs to be looked at into
Hmm.
as well.
Beautiful.
And I guess some people might be surprised when they see you growing slightly differently, and
Right.
sometimes that makes you want to hide away. Um, and I faced that as well. That was a
Hmm.
bit of a challenge because
Okay.
people always thought I was a quiet girl, so kind of
Right. So,
stepping
like,
out.
what's Jaiye doing on
What's Jaiye
Instagram?
doing? Stepping out, you suddenly feel the first person will talk to you like, oh, okay, maybe I should go back and do what I normally do. So that obviously was a challenge.
Okay.
Stepping out was a challenge. Showing up
Mhm.
was a challenge, but like you said earlier, you kind of evolve through
Right,
it, and
right.
it becomes easier.
Beautiful, beautiful. I like that. Thanks for sharing that, transformative journey. And I remember back then, the coaching session was called Purposeful Living. So
Gosh,
that's
yes.
like purpose to the full. And,
We
it just
used
ties
shapes,
back.
didn't we? We used something shapes. I can't remember.
Yes, there was Shape too. It was
Yes.
part of the Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. And Shape is that's like my signature talk. I like to talk about it everywhere, but it came from Rick Warren and it had to do with S for your spiritual gifts, H for your heart, A for your abilities, P for your personality, and E for your experiences, both positive and negative. And, reminding every woman that we're shaped uniquely and our stories and our journeys might be different, but they were put there for a purpose by God.
Mm,
So
mm,
it was
mm,
amazing to walk that journey with you at the initial stage of stepping out, into a life of purpose and impact. And thanks for sharing, some of the challenges you faced as well, because the stepping out and exploring being made for more doesn't mean everything will be smooth all the way. Even up till today, we're still evolving, we're still learning more, we're still growing more, and just, shining brighter, like
absolutely.
one of our
Absolutely.
mantras as well. And I know beyond, that initial coaching and stepping out and everything, you've gone to do other things as well, because like
Mm,
you see in life, when you're going to the next level and the next level, you always call for more
more.
grooming and shaping and learning.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
absolutely. I guess for me, it was more of that initial belief that, like you rightly said, that your stories and your experiences, both good and bad, have shaped you to this moment. So there's no need to be worried about or ashamed of what you've been through. It's all
Hmm.
part of it. So, and I think that's what gave me the confidence to kind of, keep pushing through, keep pushing through.
Beautiful.
And I'm still doing that at the moment, still kind of discovering sides of you.
Yeah.
But in particular, looking at again, something like your personality
Hmm.
or things that you really enjoy.
Right.
So I've mentioned before, I like writing. I thought, okay, I can't start with that. Let me start writing some posts about things I enjoy. So I started, maybe what we call content creation. I didn't realize it was content creation at the time. I just thought,
Right.
well, I like writing. And luckily, when I did that, one of my other friends saw what I wrote and said, please, can you write for my little group? I thought, oh,
Oh,
wow. I was
nice.
so excited. Like, what? You want me to write for your little group? I said, yeah, why not? I enjoy doing that. And then I felt like, okay, writing is only part of the areas God wants me to do. If it was a bigger picture, it was more about communication. And the communication is about letting out what is inside of me, what has been deposited inside of me into the world. So that meant that writing was just an aspect. The other aspect was speaking. I was
Beautiful.
very scared of speaking. I was absolutely petrified. So that was when I felt, look, I'm going to go to the next level of speaking what God has deposited into me. I think somebody out there needs to hear it.
Mm.
And that was when I started going into podcasting and trying to do a YouTube station and all
Yes.
of that. And yeah, you were there with me again, Dr. B. I remember when I first contacted you about this. And that was the next level. So the first step was, using what has been deposited in me, but then I had to push through to the next level. And then I realized, look, I enjoy reading.
Mm.
And that was when my next role opportunity came. Of
Wow.
course, it started with the writing. I started writing emails to people like, look, I
Okay.
want to. I remember then I had this theme came into my head, leadership. And I
Okay.
thought, oh, that's interesting. I'll write that down. Thanks to you. You taught me how to journal. So I journal some of my ideas down and I left it that way. But as the year went back, and that was 2 or 3 years ago, um, there was an opportunity for some leadership thing in my what we call our deanery, and I
Okay.
applied for it, and And he gave me. I thought, oh, okay.
Yay.
And that was how I was mentored by a very senior official in the NHS.
Okay.
And one thing just leads to the other.
Right, right.
Or it always starts from you taking that
The
first
first
step.
step.
And for
Beautiful.
me, it was more like writing. Anywhere I can write email, I can write content. Then it went up to speaking. Of course, I can write in my journal. If I hear like something in my spirit, I write it down, and then it becomes like what reality. And I think that's where it's just led me. Obviously, along the way, you might need a bit more help from different sets of people.
Right, right.
I've joined a few coaching calls.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when you wrote your book, Living Boldly,
Yes.
and I read it, and I remember the launch, and that was when I met this lady called DDK, and I
Oh,
followed
yes.
her
Okay.
over that period of time. I thought, wow, what an
Beautiful.
exciting thing.
Yes.
And God just keeps bringing people along your way to sharpen you up, to shapen
Yes.
you up.
Beautiful.
And that's how I feel my journey has been over the years.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. Oh, I love how, and we're talking about evolving, from one thing leading to another. And that's just how life is. When we say we're not stagnant in life, it doesn't mean sometimes that we're doing the same thing over and over, but one thing just leads to another, like your service as a wife, as a church leader, as a physician opens doors to connect with other people. You reach out, for coaching, maybe for just finding out what life is made more of. And then you discover a love for writing. You're able to use that to impact others. And then you go into speaking. And even though, everybody can speak, of course, but, you're like, okay, maybe I want to refine myself some more in this speaking. You get some maybe speaking coach, or you join a speaking community, or you just look for opportunities to speak more, because the more you do some things, the
The
better it
better.
gets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, with this podcasting, we both started at some point, maybe I started before you, and we're like, oh my God, what works, what doesn't work, and just sharing feedback with each other, and just growing along the path. And of course, like you mentioned, sometimes the fear sets in, the imposter syndrome sets in, but you don't let it weigh you down. You just keep going and look for the support of the community you need to make it
Definitely.
happen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Honestly, the community around you can, like they say, your network is your net worth.
Yes.
I've always used that. I always like to find communities where I'm either the oldest or the least experienced,
Hmm.
and that way I find that being in those communities actually make me better.
Right.
Not because of anything, not, just because I like being in their midst. Perhaps being the youngest child in the family, I'm
Okay.
used to kind of being, having older people around me. You just sit down and talk with them, and you just listen to their words of wisdom. I enjoy that. I can listen from today to tomorrow. It was the speaking side I needed to develop. But yes, more and more, I find that I'm in communities that kind of build me, connect me to other people as well.
Okay.
But also build my skills. They give me the opportunities to use my skills. And just kind of encourage me, hold my hands when I'm feeling down. And that has been really helpful. So definitely there's a power in the community, being in a community.
Beautiful, beautiful. So far, in what way has this kind of reinvention impacted your family, your community, or yeah, the people around you?
Oh, wow. How has it impacted them? I think we have to ask them.
Okay, maybe they've told you anything they've noticed that is different about you.
um I think for them they are actually quite surprised to see the transformation
Mhm.
from like many people know me as the quiet, shy Jaiye, which I am still quite introvertish. But more and more, I actually get quite inspired by people who tell me they're quiet and introvertish, and I'm seeing them on doing things. I'm like, what? You can't be quiet. You can't. So more I'm beginning to understand that, look, this thing, it depends on where you are and who you are. So obviously they've seen my family, maybe some of my friends have seen the quiet side of me for a long time, but they
Right.
don't realize that there are many sides to me. And one of the earliest things I learned during my pausing period or my waiting period was moving out of your comfort zone. To be honest, that was the first time I heard a message like that. I had never heard
Mm.
a message like moving out. What's that? What's comfort zone? But anyway, I realized that sometimes you have to take that step of faith for other people to see the light that you carry.
Beautiful.
And when I move and I light my candle and I use
Mm-hmm.
my candle to light
Yes.
other people, then it's easier. For the other thing for me was I wanted my daughters to see that side of me as well, to help them believe more in themselves as they grew up. A lot of women I talk to always said something, oh, my mother did this, my dad did this, my mother. So
Mm.
I thought, oh no, I want to be that kind of mother as well, that when my daughters talk about me, they can say, oh, yeah, mom was like this, but when she was this, she was something else. And, that inspires them.
Right.
So I'm hoping the impact is almost like a legacy I can
Yes.
leave behind
Yes.
for them to
Yes.
say, look, no matter how you are wired, you have to trust that God has a plan despite the way you're wired.
Mm.
And you have to learn to move into God's strength, sometimes way beyond your own natural wiring. And that's what some people call the supernatural.
Beautiful.
When there's super added to your
Mm-hmm.
natural,
Natural.
and that is what it is. So that's why I'm hoping the impact would be on my family. They don't tell me much. They just kind of look at me with the corner of their eye. Moya, she's at it again.
Yes, yes. Oh, that's beautiful. And when we're leaving a legacy, not necessarily the LEAVE part of it, but living it every day. And
Mm,
sometimes you just never know how big the impact is until later in the future. We talk about living life forward, learning
mm,
backwards. When you look back at 5 years ago, like you said, where you were and where
mm,
you are now, you see the
mm,
transformation that has
mm,
occurred. And I know
mm,
you talk about yourself as being reserved. I remember we used to say it's the quiet strength. Not
mm.
everybody has to be the super vocal jumping around, but even in your unique, reserved, quiet way, the strength and the impact still gets across. Yes,
Absolutely,
yes.
absolutely. We were talking about some of our older lecturers, myself and my husband, earlier on
Okay.
today, and how one of the consultants, even though he was quiet, but he was super effective and productive, and we all knew that that's the way. Compared to some other consultants, who were like really loud and
Loud.
brash. And yes, I completely agree that yes,
Mhm.
it's not about being quiet, it's about
Right. Ooh,
the force that you leave
love
behind,
it.
which can sometimes, reverberate even long after you've left that place. I think that's what
Beautiful.
it is.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you, Dr. Jaiye, for sharing our Jaiye. So maybe to wrap up this segment, I just want you to say one thing to someone listening out there who feels maybe their life hasn't made so much of an impact, or maybe that they're too late. What is one message you have for them today?
There's a picture I'm having in my head right now. And yes, I want to say yes, in a way, it's too late,
Hmm.
but it's just too late for you to say, I can't do it anymore. You have to leave that side of you behind. That is just one side of the coin. You have to look at that other side of the coin where there are so many possibilities. So yeah, one side of the coin is going, just let it be. But there's another side of the coin that you still need to twist around to find the real you is still there.
My God.
And yes, some things may feel like it's too late, but I don't believe it is. There's still more opportunities. You just have to allow yourself, you have to allow that light to come in so that you can see where you're going to again.
Oh my goodness. I love, 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 love that. I love that twist to it. Like, it's too late for you to sit down there and be sulking and regretting.
It's too late.
Lady,
Just
pick it
yeah,
up
that's one
and
side
let's
is gone.
go.
You just have to kind of
No
twist
turning
it to the other
back.
side.
Oh,
No turning
wow.
back.
I love it. I love it.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Uh,
JJ.
thank you.
Yeah. And at this time, we're going to pivot and talk more about your
Interests.
interests and outreach. And, like we said, you keep refining and reinventing yourself and everything. And I know this has to do more with maybe your career side of things. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, definitely.
Are you a woman in your 30s, 40s, or maybe even in your 50s? And there's this nudging in your heart for more. You feel that you're made for more. You feel that you could make more impact, but you're really scared on where to start or what to do. Hi, I'm Dr. B, and I'm your lifestyle and elegance coach, and I'm here to help you step into the beautiful and bold woman that you are. You have everything on the inside of you that God has put in there to make you the unique and relevant and impactful woman that you are. But you need to step out, and if you need help, you need some little hand holding here and there to start your journey. I'm here to help you. So click the link in the bio or in the show notes and let's connect and start this journey of purpose and impact into the really, truly elegant lady you're meant to be.
Be sure to subscribe so you'll be the first to be notified of every new episode. Leave a review and share this podcast with that elegant lady in your life. This is a space where we can come together to empower and inspire each other and live feeling elevated and enlightened. See you in the next episode.